I run this weekly webinar as part of what I offer to users of my apps, and I've been sending emails manually from my web server each weekend and at the time. So that's sort of like just I've got this web page where I do all my template previews, and I just sort of added in some awkward buttons to send the different webinar reminders. And the main reason for this was because I didn't really know where to start with sending it on a schedule on fly.io. And it turns out there was a reason I was putting this off. So let me save you some pain and confusion by showing you what I kind of figured out and what I got stuck on and how I resolved it. So the steps to doing this are: first, we create the sending function. So that's familiar to anyone that's ever set up an automatic email on their website. You just create the sending function so it can be sort of like triggered standalone. It's easy on Heroku. You just kind of like schedule that. Set up Cron Manager, which is this application that that Fly gives you that you're supposed to set up, and then you configure that, and then that lets you kind of have cron syntax for your email sending. So the first thing we do, create the sending function. So that's sort of the easiest part of all this. So I'm in my application. I'm just gonna like call this send. I've got my user notifier thing. I've got my template attachment. Don't worry about that too much. But I just send that email out with the right template ID, so it sort of maps onto what you saw before. And then so I thought, well, I'll label the function. It's going to get called 12:30 on Sundays, and then I'll call that into the Cron Manager. So the next step with this was to set up the special Cron Manager app. So that looks like they've got this web page, which is sort of like takes you through it. I think I kind of like blazed through a little bit the we'll walk through options for task schedules, starting with the most robust and ending with the it works okay tier. And I sort of like, I just thought, okay, well, the most robust is surely the best one. So that's what I'm going to show you today. But I sort of, spoiler alert, I kind of wish maybe I hadn't I hadn't kind of gone straight to this. Sorry, let me just bump up my brightness a bit because I feel like I'm a bit dark against that big white web page. So what you do is you deploy Cron Manager as its own Fly app, which stays online watching there it is. Like, it stays online watching a schedules.json file, and when the job schedule time hits, it boots a one-off machine with whatever image, region, or resources you specify. The machine runs the command exit and disappears like a good container should, right? So, and then it gives you this configuration file, which sort of has a few different parts to it. So we've got like the app name. Okay, so that's going to be, I guess, CueCam. Then this is pretty standard cron stuff. Region, whatever. A command, I sort of went to ChatGPT. What would I do to like fire the command off in my as part of my Phoenix app? And then this image part, I got quite confused about because I was like, what is all that? But I went to the repository, which you find down here, Cron Manager, and then I cloned it. I actually just forked my own copy, which apparently no one else has done because there's only 3 forks. But I tried that, cloned it locally. It told me I needed to add these data volumes, which here. But I think now I kind of like first I did. So the Fly website lets you kind of clone from a repo. So I thought, well, I'll just fork and I'll do it on the website. But then I cloned it locally, and then I deployed, and then spoiler alert, I ended up with 2 machines. So that's why it says I've got two machines. But it said add create data r, Fly volume create data r region count. So I just kind of did that. Fly volume create, it tells you the region, it tells you the thing. So actually you're not going to need 2, but yeah, it just says you need to create that data volume. And then I tried to do this Fly auth token thing. This is basically the steps, and I'll show you the steps again at the end. But on this web page, it shows you the steps that you need. I found that this Fly auth token didn't quite work as expected, but I just kind of like ran it anyway, deprecated, went to the web interface, and just added that in. So that should sort of look something like this. And that kind of worked through the web interface. And then so the third step is to configure Cron Manager. So here's my scheduler. So I'm going to send a reminder. I'm going to send my reminder email. This is my app name here. This is the cron syntax. So that's 12:30 on Sundays, right? So that's the weekday, that's the time, that's the hour, that's the minute. You can look all this up. And then I just did this app eval scheduled emails. So that's that function that I set up. So, I thought, but then I was like, well, what is this now? And you can see this is like this sort of ChatGPT gave me some of this. So I was like, well, what is this now? Like, because yeah, I didn't really know what to do with that. So the examples for this, they're all like livebook dev, livebook 011, or like something that kind of seems like some sort of like hosted thing already, or something latest. And I was like, well, how does that work? And I look at my own deployments and I see like there's just like a hash after it. But surely that changes every time. So how do I get the image number? And I look at my deployments and I click in and I can sort of see, yeah, it's a different hash to what we had, which was this. So 0K, 01K, FF, this is 1BW. So obviously that's going to change every time. I did some searching. I found this question, and then I thought it was maybe this is just a ChatGPT red herring, because this person again is doing like they've got a Rails app, but they're this seems to be just like the base image. And I'm like, well, what is it, the image that my machine's based on? So I kind of come through, I'm sort of clicking through this config. What is this nested object containing the jobs configuration? It sort of takes me through to the machine's API, and I'm kind of like looking at them going like, what is all this? I'm sort of like going backwards and forwards. And then I kind of went back to ChatGPT and it said, no, you can just do CueCam latest. I'm like, okay. I sort of thought that might be possible. But I kind of, so I updated my my thing to that. And then I deployed it. But like, one of the things with all this was it takes a long time to work on, because I kind of went, well, first you've got these deploy cycles where you're waiting like 2-3 minutes every time to try something different. And the other thing is like, I've gone straight to an email as my test. So I'm sort of scared to actually run the code because it might send an email out to everyone. So I thought, okay, well, yeah, let's sort that out. This is taking longer than I thought. So let's just make ourselves a nice, like, okay, this just something that hits the database and says, hello, Michael, of course I'm get user. I've got to be user one in my database. But yeah, so I thought, well, let's make a super simple one and kind of add that in. But yeah, it's sort of like that seemed to get it to at least. So I've got that kind of like Cron Manager deployed, and this says I can SSH in and run commands. So I sort of like come in and go, I go like fly SSH console. Where is that? After the deployment, fly SSH console. It just like picked a random machine. You see, like this whole time I've had two machines without realizing it, so that was confusing as well. But like I can go like CM schedules list, and I can see that I've got that first command and I've got the schedule. I'm like, okay, this is progress. Anyway, so I thought I'd add this test function and just add another thing, which is like just do this every 5 minutes. Send this test email. We've got CueCam latest. And so this time, so rather than waiting for Sunday, so I'd sort of deploy that. I didn't see anything happen. I didn't get an email or anything. I didn't see any output, but I had a look at the logs and I saw kind of, I don't know, I sort of waited and then I saw like, okay, failed to launch machine, failed to get manifest registry fly. So CueCam latest request failed, 404 not found. Okay, so like apparently that latest CueCam thing didn't work. So I sort of try, what if it's at latest? Sort of like do that, try that. That didn't work. And then eventually I tried, like ChatGPT, I asked it again. And it was like, do dash image label equals latest. So I was like, okay, I don't trust that. It's not in the documentation that I've seen. But in the end, I did do that. And then I saw this image registry fly.io CueCam latest. I'm like, okay, I can't remember if it always did that, but that seems promising. And so the next run, it did say like running job rather than can't find the image. So that seems like progress. And I couldn't really debug it. I went into the SSH thing, did that CM like list jobs, debug. It shows you the standard error, standard output, but it didn't show me anything on either of those outputs. And I'm still sort of like not entirely clear what's going on, what machine things are running on. I guess it's like supposed to be cloning a copy of that image, firing it up, running the stuff on it. But yeah, I went back and forth with the robot, and then I ended up with like, okay, this is a Phoenix thing. Let's just make sure the application started, then do the scheduled thing, and I got to that, and then actually finally it did complete the job successfully. So I'm like, okay. So I got my test email, but I got it twice, and that's when I kind of realized that, oh god, I've got like, if I look at this, I'm seeing like 2 machines. First I thought like the logs kind of multiplying, but yeah, it does seem like I've got 2 machines. And so, a bit of fly status shows you, okay, yeah, we've got these 2. So I just went like fly machine destroy force on one of them, and then waited another 5 minutes, and that time I just got 1 email. So I got it working. All that leaves is to write an anxious email on the forum saying, what does this mean for my bills now? I've kind of followed the documentation, I've done this stuff, but now I've got a server running 24/7. So what does that mean for how much I'm going to pay? Someone said probably scheduled machines might work better for your use case. I'm like, you might be right, but at least I've got this video out of it. So in summary, what do? We make our sending function that's just a standalone thing. We deploy the app, but you include image label. It's weird that you have to kind of go image label latest. So this is image label, fly deploy, image label latest. I have this deploy script anyway that like I automate. I have a command that I run that runs the tests first and it does all that stuff. And then finally, deploy this Cron Manager app. Not finally, but so you clone it locally. Just follow the instructions on here. It's so much easier. Fly apps create. Set the secret based on this. I did this through the web interface because this actual instruction didn't actually work directly because of the deprecation message, I think. And then fly deploy dot. That will push up the scheduler. And then we've got schedules JSON. So give it a unique name. Give it a schedule, tell it what app it's got to fire up, give it the region, give it a command that's actually going to run isolated. Oops, sorry, I keep triggering live titles. Application ensure all started, and then I do that. And then you should be able to access your, because we deployed it with that image label, we should be able to access it by label. I don't know if this is going to work every time, but that should do it. So that's kind of just my journey today. I thought like, well, I spent 4 hours on this. I documented as I went, as it started to look like a bit of a painful process because I couldn't really find any information on how to do it. But that's the steps. That's kind of where I got tripped up. And yeah, hope that helps someone. And then before I go, I just always like to say, like, I actually made this email using my own app. So the reason I was able to assemble all this stuff to show you what happened was I have this video production app, which I'm recording with right now. You see 13 minutes. I was able to just sort of create this script. I'm reading it into the webcam, into the camera. I've got my titles that I'm just editing in this kind of markdown format. I'm pasting in my screenshots. I can even like sort of automate zooms and stuff. I'm pasting in screen shares. I'm sharing a browser here. I'm sort of sharing I'm sharing different bits and pieces as I go down. So you can see that makes it like a lot easier to make a video going through a process like this. I didn't have to like edit anything. I just kind of collected stuff as I went. And so CueCam's a really good way of doing that. This is the app that I am building, and it's the website that I'm talking about. And then so the way I'm recording is I'm in a room. I've got my teleprompter here. I've got a pencil here that lets me draw on the webcam directly. And then I'm sort of sometimes sharing this screen. I've got a stream deck where I'm pressing the buttons. I've got my microphone here. So that's CueCam.app. You can try it for free. You can get it. It's not that expensive, and I think it really is worth it for communication, really for technical communication. So you can come and try that today. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you. Please subscribe and like this video. Bye.